Good day. My name's Don Tipping, and I'm here at my farm in southwestern Oregon, which is where we have a small organic family farm based seed company called Siskiyou Seeds, where for the last 25 years we've been growing, selecting, and adapting seeds for small gardens, homesteads, and small farms. Today I wanted to share a few of tips about growing a fall garden. Right here today, it's the end of July, and this is the time to direct seed carrots and beets, but also plant your heading brassicas like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, that type of thing. And then a little bit later, it's time to plant your leafy greens like lettuce, the mustards, arugula, Swiss chard, peas, radishes, fava beans. You could start those now, but for instance, here today it's 100 degrees out. We've got a little bit of cloud cover, and I'm going to hold off on some of those other crops until it cools off a little bit in the fall. The reason that it's important to start the heading brassicas so early and while it's still so hot is that they need enough time to grow into nice healthy starts that we'll be transplanting in the garden in about 4 or 5 weeks. So we're starting up here at the greenhouse that I have covered with shade cloth. Outside we have just some tables under a tree, and that would be totally fine as well. So you don't need a greenhouse to start your fall garden crops. We're just using it because we have it. But you might want a shady spot. So again, back to the reason that you need to start these things so early is that now that we're past the summer solstice, the day length keeps getting shorter and shorter. So by the time it's the fall equinox, the nights are actually longer than the days. So we need to have these crops in the ground and growing before the fall equinox. Otherwise, they won't make a head satisfactorily. So again, for cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. And days to maturity is something that some people use, but I find that a really confusing metric because it all depends on your fertility. Is it growing as a start and then you're transplanting it? Are you keeping it well weeded? What's the sunlight like? And so on and so forth. So I've learned here for the Pacific Northwest, and I believe this would be applicable anywhere in our latitude, so we're at 42 degrees north latitude, that you want to get your fall brassicas started in July, and then you can plant the greens a little bit later. So you can see here, this is for just our home garden, we already have purple sprouting broccoli going, we have a Savoy cabbage, different broccoli and kale, cauliflower, another cabbage, red express cabbage. These are Brussels sprouts, and another red storage cabbage. So this is just for our homestead use. So I'm going to go over right now some examples of how you would do your fall brassicas. Some people are going to use these plug trays, and the way I do it is I have a bottom tray. We call these 10 by 20s that help support these trays. These are about 1.125 inches or so across. This is, I believe, a 72 cell tray. These grow pretty nice transplants. If you want to jump up to a little better system, these are what are called soil blocks, and there's a link you'll see in the video. Here's a block formed out of our potting soil mix, which there's another link you can click, how we make potting soil. And these are made using a soil blocker, and that, this is a bit of an investment. They have small Gardner handheld ones. This is a floor model, but it's a lifetime tool. I've had this for 20 years, and they have different sizes. So again, you can check out the links to our other videos about making soil blocks. The reason this is superior is that each one of these blocks has about twice as much soil as is in a cell tray, and they also tend to avoid the starts getting root bound and the flower pot effect that happens here. I also like that it doesn't really use plastic. We make these trays out of wood. Obviously you could put these soil blocks in a plastic tray if you don't have the wood trays, but when these trays fall apart, we can make kindling out of them or just compost them. So I'll go and plant some Brussels sprouts here. Brussels sprouts are enjoying a resurgence in popularity. A long time ago, it was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek joke about eating Brussels sprouts being like torture. You know, like eat your Brussels sprouts would be something your mom or grandma might tell you. But now they're enjoying a foodie revolution, if you will. They take a long time to grow. So here we have a fairly mild fall, so I know that starting them now that they will indeed produce sprouts and then hold through the winter. Their flavor improves a lot in the fall. But just to let you in on the secret, that fall brassicas are very much like Brussels sprouts, a seasonal thing. It's impossible to really have them year round unless you're in like maritime California. So I cover this in some other videos, but I'll share a little trick. Whether you're using our packets or not, I'll make a little crease in the front of it, and then as I tap the packet, you can see the seeds line up in that little groove, and it makes it a lot easier to plant. So this seed, its last germination was about 85%, so I am aiming to get at least one seed, but perhaps 2 seeds in each spot. So this is how we do it here in the soil blocks. I won't finish the whole tray just for expedience sake. And then I cover each seed here with a little bit of soil. And then I'm probably going to water these like twice a day. And then I'm going to label it. So I have a label with my date because I want to keep track of when I started it. So that's in there. I'll go and demonstrate here doing something in a plug tray. I have been talking about fall brassicas, which is, you know, your cabbage, broccoli family. But parsley is a really nice, cold, hardy crop to have. So I'm going to plant a flat of parsley. So same thing, I made a crease and I'm tapping it out. Seeds much smaller, and I'm going to go and just quickly seed out this flat. Maybe I'll plant half of this. And you can see how quick I'm being. If you really want to be more careful, you can sprinkle the seeds into your hands and take a pinch and do that. So I just planted half that flat of parsley. This is moss green curled. There's the flat Italian parsleys and then your curly parsleys. So, and then I just took a little bit of soil and put it on there. And again, important that I label it with the date today, July 27th, and what I planted. So that's that, and you check the other part of this video for the direct seeded crops of your root crops, because the reason you want to direct seed your root crops and peas, for one, peas in a plug tray, they dry out really fast and they get overheated. The root crops, the importance to direct seed those, so we're talking carrots, beets, rutabagas, turnips, parsnips, and radish. And there's other obscure ones that you might be interested in planting, is that as that little root forms, the part of the plant that we eat is the root. So when it's direct seeded, the root naturally, if this is a soil surface, is going to just keep on going down, and then you get a nicely shaped carrot or radish or beet. But if you grow it as a transplant, which is possible, they will grow that way, and then you transplant it, that root has already hit the bottom of the tray or the soil block a long time ago, and then when you transplant it in the ground, it's more likely to be very forked, and you have a less aesthetically pleasing root for eating. So hopefully that was helpful. Your fall garden feeds you over a really long time of the year, from fall through winter and into spring, unless you live in a really cold winter climate. Whereas your summer garden is equally as important, but it is important to recognize that you're only eating from your summer garden. For a lot of people, it's the latter part of July, August, and September, and a little bit of October until the frost comes. So you're really only getting about 3 months of food out of your summer garden. Obviously, you can dry, preserve, freeze a lot of your summer garden, which I encourage you to do. But your fall garden is a source for fresh, dark leafy greens, cabbages, broccoli, roots, all that for all through fall and winter, when also fresh fruit is less available in the store because it's had to come on a truck for a long time. So I really encourage you to figure out how to do your fall garden for all those reasons, and I hope you're really successful. And feel free to check out our website. We've got the full complement of all of the fall garden seed crops in stock available for you to grow. So thanks. Good luck.